Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of I Cast Fireball, an actual play 5e and D&D adventure where we go through the campaign Tyranny of Dragons. I'm Thomas, your DM for this adventure, and around the table we have...
Malamara.
Lance Thalen.
And Fleeple.
Yes, we are one person less today. Josh has left our table, but if you wanted to see a little bit about Ralph, I recommend you go listen to the after credits scene Josh and I recorded in last week's episode. So, just a little teaser for those that turned it off before our outro. But let's get back to the Jank Squad here as they are picking up the pieces from this climatic, dramatic, intense confrontation and moment that was had at Lottie's place, falling out of a 200-foot window into the ocean, surviving the treacherous rocks thanks to Fleeple's wild shape, which somehow Thomas forgets a lot that Fleeple can't do wild shape, and it's such a pleasant surprise when it happens, and the final send-off of Ralph alive. We panned away as the three of you hugged each other on the beach, sort of cradling each other for warmth, but also just taking a breath of fresh air as this event has now been concluded. That is where we are going to join our adventures on this week's episode. So, Lance, Fleeple, Malamara. I'm going to slightly direct the story just to begin here. So we don't have to roleplay you walking up the steps, going through the city of Neverwinter, trying to find a location without too much issue, maybe with a little bit of exhaustion. Lance, you use your knowledge of the city and you find a cozy, average tavern, specifically trying to avoid suspicion. And you go on the northern part of Neverwinter, over the big river, away from Lottie's place, which was more close to the southwest, away from the teleportation circle that brought you to Neverwinter, which is found in the southeastern portion, somewhat near the circus that you had, where the big rift had occurred decades past in Neverwinter. You find yourself bedding down for the night, drying some clothes, warming yourself by the fire, and all of you just breathing in, breathing out, enjoying a nice hot meal of stew. You are left to yourselves to bed for the night, and before you sleep, is there any conversations you wish to have?
I am eating as ravenously as I can, so my teeth are a little bit occupied with that at the moment.
I don't think so. I don't have anything. I think Lance is just very much in his mind because a lot of things have happened for him. So he's kind of just keeping to himself.
Yes. And Mal, you take your sword out and just are looking at it. You're sharpening it absent-mindedly. This weapon doesn't need to be sharpened. But it is in plain view of Fleeple and Lance as you are in the privacy of your room. You feel it appropriate and able to inspect the blade, clean it if need be, but since it is magical, it is not needed to be cleaned. But it's something to occupy your mind and occupy your time.
Before bed at some point, Malamara would also like to ritually cast Find Familiar and resummon Zaza, since she was destroyed during that battle from Resmir.
What animal?
As a pseudo-dragon.
Pseudo-dragon again. You poof Zaza into existence. They fly overhead, their blue scales shining brilliantly, and they land on your shoulders and wrap around you and nuzzle into your neck a little bit, as much as they can, accepting your warmth, accepting your company and companionship yet again. Zaza starts licking your cheek after a little while, expectant, and you grab into your pouch and you take out a little treat that you have for her, and she nibbles on it before hopping over to the fire and curling up. If there's nothing else, we will bed down for the night then.
For some completely normal dreams, right?
Fleeple, Lance, you go to bed, and Mal, as you're going to bed, you put your sword off to the side, and you feel the sword has changed slightly, but maybe not the sword, it's maybe your connection with the sword. And although we don't have an opportunity to describe it now, it is now a +2 magical sword.
What?
Ooh.
Hot dog.
You don't hear anything, but you feel the coldness of Air 2 as this realization washes over you. And you remember your previous conversation with him about how he would gift and he would give power unto you.
That increases my hit modifier and my damage modifier, right?
That's correct. So as we all sleep here, Malamara, I need you to roll me a wisdom saving throw, please.
Let's do it. First roll of the night. Ooh, a 6.
Okay. Mal, you drift off to sleep. As you are drifting off to sleep, you find your mind reflecting on some of the events that seemed a little hazy at the time. Grabbing onto Rezmir, grappling them, dragging them to the ocean, and those words emanating from you that were not your own. The immolation of Rezmir, and how Air 2 seemed to linger as your rage persisted much longer than it has previously. And it troubles you. It troubles you and causes you to reflect. Your mind drifts off into a deep slumber, and you think back. You almost fall back into memories that you have not thought of for quite some time, because they are painful. Not the memories themselves, but of the people you've lost. And as you're tossing your head a little back and forth, trying not to think about these things, you hear this voice in the distance, very muffled, and like they're trying to reach you, and just saying your name over and over. Malamara! And that last time, it's clear as day, and your eyes snap open. Not in the tavern, but in a very familiar tent with pelts and furs and blankets, with the morning light shining into the tent. And you look up into the face of your grandmother, back in your home encampment. She says to you, Malamara, if you don't get out of bed, you will be late, and I'll have to do your chores for myself yet again. Now get out! And she smacks you with a wooden spoon on the head. Conk, conk. And keeps smacking you until you roll out of bed. Conk, conk, conk. Get up! Get up!
All right now,
Malamara.
All right.
Come on, come now, come. And hurry. You're heading off. Now get your things, get your sword, get your whatever you need, but come along. It dawns on you, this isn't a vision. This is a memory. Almost word for word. And yet you felt the wood smack your head yet again. And it's exactly as you remember. But you feel your body, you feel the things around you, and it's visceral and real. As you feel the cold against your green skin, you feel your face. Your fangs are almost shaved down. They are very not pronounced. You're trying to hide them. And you get your clothes on, your stature being a little less than as you went to sleep last night. It's starting to feel less like a memory and more like a reality. Like, this is who you are. This is your day. This is Malamara, you are a member of Ghelfi, your clan at the spine of the world.
Village life starts early, so she reaches over at the foot of her bed, would be her staff, her long wooden staff with a stone point on it that has different feathers and different trophies from previous kills. She grabs her sack that's always by the foot of her bed. It has a bedroll, it has extra clothes, extra rations, a couple of different scents ready to go out on a moment's notice out to her hunting blind if necessary. Instinctively, she reaches for the sword actually strapped to her back underneath her cloak. Does she have the gift from Air 2?
Instinctively, you're grabbing your sack, your stone point, you're doing that, you grab to your side, and you feel something there. And you look, and you don't remember getting this sword. But it's wrapped up all in bandages, and you're like, no time to think about that, but you have to go. But you have this sword, and it is the sword from Air 2. You rush out, and there is a bustle. As you said, clan life starts early, and it is well past early morning, and the food, the breakfast, and is almost getting tossed out. You quickly rush and you run over there, and you grab a bowl of something, and this woman just looks at you, and she smacks your hand with the spoon. She goes, "Malamara, sleeping in? You'll be the death of the clan of us all, Malamara. Come now, finish up your meal. Finish it up." Who is it, Mal? Or Mickey?
This is Hildy. She acts almost like a village chef, that the hunters bring in all the food, and then a group of cooks make it up and then divvy it back out. This is very much a village that shares everything. It's a community of sharing. Everything that is brought in is sent back out.
And not only is she a cook from this particular meal, that's just her responsibility this morning. She's the head matron of the entire Ghelfi clan. And so her words, while harsh, maybe not hold a lot of weight, but you can't really stand up to the head matron here. And so you just apologetically bow back and finish your meal real quick with your fingers and just shoving it in as you are trying to find Grant. You're trying to run over and find Grant before he heads out without you, because he needs you, or rather, you need to go with him, is rather what it is. You bump into a few people who are skinning some animals. Some are preparing hides, and they yell to you. A younger gentleman, just slightly older than you, who's preparing one of the hides, and goes, "Hey, orc girl, make sure you bring us something big this time." And who was that just reached out, that yelled out to you?
She snorts at Ingmar. He is one of the leader of her bully gang, even though he is an adult and she is very much not. By perpetuating his hate of her, the others around him kind of feed off of that as well.
Yeah, very almost high school, but this is more life and death in high school. And this clan, as he yells that at Orc Girl, some of his buddies who are also preparing these hides just kind of chuckle to each other. They yell Orc Girl after you. "Yeah, Orc Girl, bring us something." "Yeah, Orc Girl." Very demeaning, very rude, and it's just one of the many things you have to shrug off. Before you head out, you have to make sure that you talk to Laren, though. So you go and find Laren, your grandfather. And what's he doing this morning?
At a certain point in the Ghelfi, it is not, your bodies are just not able to go out on the hunts and be able to go out and serve a purpose outside of the village. And so within it, they have to find different, almost daily tasks to be working on. And Laren has always been very gifted with carving. And so he carves a lot of the almost weapon maintenance. He does staffs of spears, and he does tent poles, but he also digs into the art of the camp. in sociology, you have once food and shelter are taken care of, then you start to be able to decorate. And so as much as he does the practical things, he is one of the foremost artists of the Ghelfi currently.
And as you walk up to him, he has finished some of the other more necessary items, and you see him carving a small little totem, actually. A totem. Now, what is the Ghelfi? Is that representative of something? Is that an animal, or?
The Ghelfi means the claw. And so the claw of the dragon. That is, it's foremost hunting, it's for its protection, it's for its attack. And so to have life and to give life, you have to protect it. And in a dragon, that is one of its biggest weapons for protection.
And as you walk up, you run up to him and needing to say something, needing to say goodbye, get his blessing. He's just carving this bear. And it's very pretty. It's very beautiful. But it's this totem, this bear totem, that he is finishing. And you see next to him there are other totems as well. The eagle, a little dragon bust as well. But there's other totems that are recognizable to you that are unfinished. He's just happening to finishing up this bear totem in particular. As you run up to him, he looks to you, like out of the corner of his eye, while he's finishing up, hunched over with this knife, this massive, bear pelt on him to keep him warm and cover him as the fire in front of him is blazing. And he looks down at the bear totem, you sort of with a questioning look, and he goes, "Dragons aren't the only things that have claws, Malamara. Ghelfi, we'd be wise to remember that." And he just goes back to whittling, expectant for your words.
But the one who has the biggest claws is the one that goes home with a full belly.
As long as they're wise, looks at you. Not foolish and aggressive. Fall into anyone's trap. You know that as well as anybody, Mal. You and Grant setting those traps out there, how many big creatures you caught out there? Yeah, creatures that they thought had the biggest claw. Oh, Mal.
She knows that his words are meant to be teasing, and she and her grandfather have a shockingly loving relationship compared to most of the other adults in her life. But hearing his even joking chastisement about not being foolish or angry stings her a little bit, and she kind of shrinks into herself a little bit. Sheepish.
You heading out with Grant today?
We are. We're going to hit the northern ridge. We've heard that there's some big game up there. We're really hoping, since the lower forests have been taken over by the orcs, we haven't been able to hunt. So we're really hoping that up north we'll be able to find something.
Good, yes. New area. But I'm sure Grant will protect you. As he looks up with a wry smile, he just keeps carving.
Please. He takes me to keep track of him.
Yeah. I know you say that you protect him. He says he protects you. I'm just grateful that both of you are out there together. So make sure that you, and he gets a little serious here, make sure that you always have his back. Just like I know he has yours.
Always. She's a little confused at that bit of sage, because that seems so obvious, but he said it so seriously that it makes her really think about it for a moment.
All right, well, you better head off. You've already lost a lot of the morning light.
Grandfather, could Grant and I maybe take Falco this time? I mean, we're going all the way up to the northern ridge, and it is a long way, and it's just so far to walk. Could we take the horse this time?
Well, I suppose. Of course, Grant already asked that, and he already has him, so seems like great minds act alike. But you go on and get, all right? Just go ahead and get up. You're gonna miss all the light, and you won't be back in time for supper.
She throws her arms around him and gives him a kiss on the cheek.
Oh gosh.
A very human gesture that she sees
Yes.
other people doing.
Mal, you gotta remember you're a little stronger than you realize, okay? My brittle bones can't handle a hug like that all the time. He hugs and nestles into you again, and he gives you a kiss on your forehead.
I love you. And this feeling of the importance of saying that washes over her. She doesn't know why, but in this moment, something that she can't quite put her finger on makes it seem like that's the most important thing that she could possibly say to him. And so she says it again, more seriously, really looking at him. I love you.
He grabs your hand, and he just squeezes it. He just looks at you, and he keeps the eye contact for a good moment. All right, now go ahead and get. Go on.
She runs off to the staging ground where all of the hunters are gathering to go off on the hunt.
And you rush upon Grant, and we'll jump a little bit ahead in time here, because you and Grant have broken off from the other hunters. You do better on just the two of you, because the other hunters, well, frankly, they don't wish to hunt with you. You've heard them whisper under their breath things like, "She scares all the wildlife away. She's not stealthy. She can't keep her own feet quiet if she's standing still." And other things as well, like, "I'm not going to be with her out in the middle of nowhere where she can kill me and claim it was a hunting accident." Other things like, "She frightens me. Her kind destroyed my family. And it's better for you and Grant to go alone most of the time." And this time is no exception. Grant and you, Grant has always been one to put you at ease, though. He is a human, and he's your half-brother. And at that point, he's saying, he's finishing a story about Ingmar. He said, and it wasn't for a few hours until Ingmar realized he'd put dung in his hair and not horse wax.
You didn't.
I did. All right.
Grant, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty great. It was one of my better moments, I'll say that. Oh man. He was so embarrassed he didn't even come after me, but I just hope he didn't take it out on you for whatever reason.
Not any more than usual.
Well, that's something, I guess. Hey, we have a few traps set out already. How about we practice a little bit, huh? We could just practice, a little bit of sparring with each other, right? Like, sure, we're hunters and gatherers, but we know that at any time we could be ambushed by those orcs, right? It's important for us to keep up all those skills.
Grandfather doesn't like it when we spar. Or when you spar with me.
I know he doesn't like it, but I wouldn't like it if those orcs came back for our family. Okay? Come on. Let's just practice a little bit, okay? Not too much, not too crazy.
But what if I could?
I've been trying some stuff out. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at. I wanna show some things off.
She rolls her eyes and smiles. Okay, fine, let's do it.
Great. And he swings a sword right at you. Let's roll initiative.
Ooh. A 21.
Wow.
That was a lot better than my first roll of the night.
That beats his 15.
Haha.
So he swings his sword at you, but it's a wide swing, and you just jump back and go, "Hey!" And you get your weapons out. What weapon do you pull out?
In her memory, she reaches out for her spear, and that's what her deja vu tells her she should do next. But as she reaches out and grips the air instead of her spear, she finds that her other hand has drifted back and is unsheathing that long blade almost by itself.
Oh, pulling out the heavy ones. All right. I've got one too. And he's pulling out this massive great axe that he's wielding with both hands. And he's very strong. He is stronger than you. And he is one-handing this with a little flourish and back and forth. And he smacks it into the snow. The impact alone is enough. And he goes, all right. Let's just keep it a little bit civil, all right?
Mm-hmm, sure. I see you've been practicing behind my back. I saw that flurry.
Well, it's your go, Mal. What are you going to do?
She is going to do a flurry with her blade as well, and then thrust at Grant in a very easy parry. It should be very easy for him to parry it away.
Okay, go ahead and roll an attack.
That's it was a 15.
15, that is a hit, actually. So go ahead and roll damage.
10 points of damage.
Ooh, okay, so you do some 10 points of damage to him. He goes, whoa! All right. Okay, and it's just some blood, a little bit of blood.
Maybe you need to swing your axe a little harder.
As he says, whoa, okay, all right. And he goes, how about this? It was actually, he's going to be performing a feinting attack from the Battle Master maneuvers. And he's going to use his bonus action to feint, and he has advantage against you now.
Huh.
Which was good because he rolled a 2 on the first one. Does a 21 hit?
It sure does.
Okay, so what he gets to do now is he gets to roll damage plus his superiority die that he expended here, which I believe is a D10. Nope, D8. New class, who dis?
I like that you did a whole new class for this.
I did. I have to figure out players' abilities as well. So his superiority die, he rolls a 5 on the die, and then he's going to roll damage, which is going to be another 5 plus 3, so that's 13 points of slashing damage. So he goes that, and he goes, ha ha, and he sort of kicks you back and goes, how do you like that, huh? How do you like that? And he's just kind of fancy footwork around you. You can't see where I'm hitting you from. You can't see me at all.
And as much as she enjoys his taunting, she starts to get a little upset. She starts to get a little angry. And the sword that she's holding starts to smoke that inky blackness a little bit.
Okay, well, it's your turn.
12.
12. As you roll a 12, it does not hit. And you start, which makes sense, you're starting to get a little ruffled. You're starting to get a little rageful. And you're not used to your rage. It's very foreign to you, and you've been told, hide it, push it. Conceal, don't feel. Don't let it show. So yeah, you're pushing it down, and as a result, it's just you're not focused in. You're not focused. And that's why you're swinging wildly, and he goes, He's then going to take his turn, unless you'd like to do something else on your turn with your bonus action or movement.
With swinging wide, the blades just goes right over his head. And even though she's holding back, it's still irritating that he didn't even try to block it. He didn't even try to leap away. He just was standing there, and I just fully missed.
With his reaction, he's actually going to perform a riposte. And because you missed, he goes, gotcha! And he's going to spend a superiority die again to make a melee attack against you here to see if he can get you. Does a 16 hit?
It does not.
You're able to block it, thankfully. You're getting your senses. You're trying to sharpen your mind senses back into this. And you're like, okay, I'm back in it. And he goes, I almost had you there. You can finish your turn out if you'd like.
As that anger is starting to grow, that inky blackness that's on the sword surges up her arm and down across the ground. and slowly starts circling Grant's legs as, unbeknownst to her, she casts Hex on him.
Ooh, okay.
With her bonus action.
And as he's dancing, the inky blackness is dancing with him back and forth. And he is not speaking now. He is just he's gonna go at you and go, ah! And just sort of like do this yell, this battle cry, but more of like a focusing in, like, Hua! And he's gonna try and perform a pushing attack. But before he can do that, he has to try to hit you. Oh, 22 to hit.
That hits.
Okay, so now that he's hit you, he's going to expend a superiority die. This is his third one that he's using to try and push you back. So damage is going to be 14 points of damage, and then you have to succeed on a strength saving throw here.
That's a 22.
Okay, so that's a success. He tries to, he attacks you. He actually gets some skin, but most of the damage you're doing is, although it's technically slashing damage, it's more good-natured, like, let's beat each other up bludgeoning-wise, and, like, let's not, like, leave cuts exposed to the elements and things like that. So he hits you with the butt of his great axe here, but against your armor, he does come down against it, trying to push you back, and then he jumps in the air and tries to kick you. But as he kicks you, you just block him with your arms, so you don't get pushed back, and he just stands in place. And he goes, all right. He's going to take a second wind at this point and just take in, and he goes, all right. And that's going to be his bonus action. He's going to heal. Well, he only heals 5 health points. I rolled a 1 on the die.
Oh, no. That's never good.
Oh, well.
Ones are never good.
He's only taken 10 damage so far, so we're good there. All right, and he goes to you.
She's trying to keep it good-natured because she knows that this is her brother. She knows it's not an enemy, but something about this inky blackness is just completely clouding over her brain, and she goes to cut at his leg as fast as she can without holding back.
Okay.
And I rolled a 17.
17, that's a hit.
And she does 10 points of slashing damage to his leg unintentionally.
Okay. Ah! He grabs it, and it is a little bit exposed. It is a little cut.
Sorry, and Hex. I haven't used Hex in so long. That's another 2 points of damage, so 12 points of slashing damage.
Ah! Oh, man, that stung, Mal. He stands up, though, and his face has changed a bit, too. He's realizing, okay, all right. We said we wouldn't take it too hard. We'd try and keep it easy, but his face is hardening a little bit like yours. He is going to try again. He's going to attack you. Ooh, he rolled a 3 plus 7 is 10. It's a miss.
That is a miss.
But he is going to action surge here. So the first one he does, he goes right for you. You block with your sword against his battle axe, blade coming towards you, hence why you blocked. But he's going to action surge and roll again. Not much better, just a 13. Does that hit?
No, it does not.
Dang. All right. And he, ching, ching, blocking. You are both intense now. It has changed from being good-natured to, now let's see what we could really do, okay? And it goes to you.
Mao will flurry around her head and then do several types of jabs at him, all of which miss. He's just dancing around her blade, and in frustration, she slams the point of it into the snow, and out erupts those tendrils of Hadar. And she unintentionally casts Arms of Hadar on him.
Oh, so what does he have to roll?
That is a strength save.
Strength save. He is strengthy. 13?
That is exactly my spell save DC.
Okay, so he saves, thankfully.
No, but he still takes 6, 8. If it's 12 points of damage, he takes half, so he takes 6 points of damage as those tendrils rise up around him and pulse as it sucks some of that life force from him.
He's a little hurt, but he's got a lot of vitality still, so he's not in any danger here. But he's and just cuts these tentacles And it's his turn, yes? Mm-hmm. Mal, what the heck is going on? What do you have here? What is this? Come on, tell me! And he is going to attack you. Gosh dang it, that's a 13.
Oh, you're rolling so poorly.
So terrible here. Do I only get one action surge? Yep. Oh, duh. I've been forgetting about his extra attack. Okay.
Oh.
So, my bad. So that was his first attack. It was a miss. Oh, but his second is even worse. He rolls an 11. So he's trying to get at you, but now he's blinded a little bit by the rage here. And he goes for you. Whiff on your left side, whiff on your right side. And he's trying to push you back and sort of like kick you, but is unable to. It is now your turn, Mel.
Being in battle, she is now completely blinded to the fact that Grant is her brother and not her enemy. All she's sees before her is an opponent. Her eyes black over with this rage that she usually keeps so contained and so in control and so pushed down, just really bubbles to the surface. And so that hex around that was dancing around Grant actually floods down and spreads out across the snow, leaving visible prints in the snow as she drops it, and she enters a full rage as a bonus action. And she recklessly attacks with that blade and just takes slice at him, even though it's only one attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go for it.
That's like a 24, 25 to hit.
24 is a hit.
That's 18 slashing damage as she just blindly is starting to hack at him, no longer training, no longer lightheartedly, really slashing at him and getting lost in the rage herself.
With that, he yells out to you at the end of your turn and goes, Mal, snap out of it. Come on. Mal. And he's going to feint again and roll with advantage here.
You would already get advantage because I attacked recklessly.
Okay. Then he's not going to worry about that. He is then instead going to Great Weapon Master attack you. That's a 19 to hit. Because the -5, I rolled a 24, -5, so that's going to be +10 to the damage here. He is going to try to wail in you, and he is going to expend a superiority die to try to trip you, to do a trip attack. So that's going to be 7 on the superiority die, +7, +3, so that's going to be 17 points of damage to you. And this is slashing. It's going right into you. And I need you to make another strength saving throw, which I know you have. It's really high.
Yeah, that's a 22.
Okay, and then he's going to, because he didn't trip you, he's going to try attack you again with the second attack. Also with advantage, natural 20. Natural 20. So that is going to be another 10. Oh, add 10 more damage to the last attack because of that. And let's see, what is he going to do? He's going to try and trip you again. So that's going to be 1 on the superiority die, 1 on the damage, but both of them are, since it's a critical hit, I get to re-roll these again. In fact, I also have the feat Savage Attacker, so I'm going to re-roll these dice. Well, let me do the whole roll.
You re-roll 1 of the dice again.
Yes, and then so I'm going to re-roll the d12. So for our audience here, I rolled a 1, an 11, and a 3 because it was a critical hit. I'm going to re-roll the first one on the d12. Much better. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 11 is 21, plus 3 is 24, plus 10 is 34 damage to you from that critical hit. You still up?
No.
Okay. And so he pushes you down to the ground. You are unconscious. And as you fade in and out, he just calls to you, distorted. And you come to, having taken a crap load of damage.
Oh, I have a relentless endurance, so instead of going to 0, I drop to 1.
So you drop to 1, you come back, and he just goes, Mal, stop, Mal. As you're trying to get back up, your hex is gone, your Hadar is gone, the imprints in the snow. He's thrown his weapon off to the side, and he's grabbing your face, and goes, look at me, Mal, look at me, Mal, breathe with me.
And she has that sword in her hand. She's still raging, and she still has Air2's sword, and just heavily breathing that. And she, is looking, even though Grant is right in her face, she's, staring right through him as that rage is just surging inside of her. And finally, all of that damage and all of that, this entire thing, something clicks in her brain that she is out of control. And she literally opens her hands and lets that sword drop to the snow. And as it lands, it expends another burst of that black inkiness right back into the sword, and she falls back into the snow and just lays there and breathes until she calms herself down. Just I told you that was a bad idea.
Yeah, next time how about we listen to you, okay? That was a little bit further than I wanted to take it, and I'm sorry. I was out of line for me. He gets a salve, and he starts rubbing it not only on him, but he starts tending to some of your wounds. And he goes, "Just let me take care of it, okay?" And Mal, Grandpa tells you that your rage is not to give into it, right? That you're two parts of very different worlds, human, orc, and that it's your choice to decide which one you want to live in. And he just pauses and lets that hang in the air, and he stops moving for a little bit. And he pauses so much it brings attention to it, and you look over to him, and he just says, I'm just saying, I'm not sure you have to choose between the two of them, but maybe just choose the good things from both of them, okay?
Mal sits up straighter from the recumbent pose that she was in while he was healing her, and she kind of shifts away from him a little bit. She goes, there is nothing good about my orc side. And then she spits into the snow, spits some blood into the snow next to her. That's how we got here. Look at us. The only good is human.
His mouth is pursed as he's slowly nodding his head back and forth, looking down into the snow. Well,
Garrett's gonna kill us if we don't
probably check on some of our traps, right? Yeah.
And she'll whistle for her real pseudo-dragon, Zaza, to circle down as Grant does the same for his red dragon, pseudo-dragon.
We jump to a horrific moment in time, because as you and Grant were getting a pretty good haul from all of your traps, it caused you to be late, and so you were unable to meet up with the other hunting party members, and so you had to camp out at night. And the next morning, when you go to the camp, your clan, KFK, the clan is destroyed, and you don't need everything described to you. You know that the wash basins are turned over. You know that the huts have been singed through with fire. You look away from the faces that look back at you empty and lifeless. And Grant hollow at this. Something seems to have left him, as it might affect any sane person. All that he's filled with is anger and rage. And before he turns off yelling about how the orcs did this, how the orcs burned down the village, how you should have been here, how you could have done something, Mal, because you actually have some strength compared to everybody else. He gets on the horse and he turns to you and says, well, are you coming?
Mal looks at the hand that Grant is offering to her to pull her up onto the horse. And she knocks it away and goes, What? What are you gonna do? You think you're gonna go kill an entire orc army by yourself?
Our parents are dead. Our clan is dead because of those monsters. All they know, as he points over to the ridge to the south where the orcs possibly are, all they know is mindless violence. They feel nothing, they care about nothing, and they can't help it. It's in their nature.
And for the first time in Mal's life, she can see herself reflected back in Grant's eyes. And quietly she says, My nature, you mean? And as they're glaring at each other, Grant does not deny it. He's looking at her like she's one of them, like that mindless, emotionless monster.
And he pulls his hand away, staring at you, tears streaming down his face. You should have saved them, Mal. And he gallops away, leaving you alone amidst the remnants of the KFK clan.
The ground in the spine of the world is too frozen to dig graves. And because the KFK, like many other nomadic tribes of the area, are by nature nomadic. And so having a physical grave does nothing. And so as a burial ritual, many of the nomadic tribes build funeral pyres. And so over the next several hours, Malamara gathers all of the kindling that she can, all of the burnt canvases, all of the wood stock that they had, and builds up these funeral pyres. And one by one, she pulls every man, woman, and child that she has ever known in her entire life onto these funeral pyres. And the very last thing she can bring herself to do, she picks up the bodies of her grandparents and lays them to rest on the last two pyres. And they're just stacks and stacks of bodies as everybody in her entire world is now on these pyres. And she sets them alight. And she watches them burn all night. That smoke and the feel of the heat of the flames searing into her very nature as she watches everything she's ever known go up in smoke. As her grandparents' bodies catch fire, she sits down on a stump a bit away from the pyres and lets them burn completely out all night. And as the sun rises that next morning, the cinders of those fires are still burning. And Malamara has clutched in her hand the carving knife that her grandfather always used on all of the carvings that he did for the village.
And Mal, exhaustion takes you. You pass out right then and there, not caring if you live, not caring if you die. And you drift off blessedly to sleep, to nothingness. Not for long, though, because you're almost rustled awake as someone trips over your body. You sit up from your laying position, and hand immediately goes to your sword. And everything is dark around you. The person that trips over you goes, Oh, please forgive me. Please forgive me. Please forgive me, devil. I didn't mean anything by it. And starts to almost crawl back away from you. And you just stare at them, but it's hard to make them out. You wouldn't be able to make them out if you didn't have dark vision, because this room is barely lit. And all you see are strangers around you. Some human, tieflings, halflings, a gnome. You just see strangers. And an older gentleman in some patchwork armor comes up to you and goes, Hey, Devil, you're up next. They'll be coming for you. You might want to prepare yourself.
Mal rubs her eyes and tries to help her dark vision refocus. And she actually grabs the front of the tunic of the last person who spoke to her and pulls her close to her face. And she goes, "How dare you!" And she knows what that rage can do, especially having this recent memory of the demise of her tribe because of her rage. She slowly lets go of the man's tunic. Up next for what? Where am I?
Don't you know already? Miss, you're in the arena. We're going to cut away from Mal there. Fleeple and Lance, you wake up after a good night's rest, actually. It's very refreshing, and you are stretching and getting things worked out. Lance, you're sort of like composing yourself, and Fleeple, you're composing yourself when you look over to Mal's bed, and it has not been slept in.
That's not good.
And she is nowhere to be seen.
Did you see her go to bed last night?
I thought maybe I did, but looking back, I was really tired after all of that, and I might have just zonked out as soon as my head hit the pillow, you know?
As both of you go downstairs and you ask the tavern keep, the tavern keep goes, half-orc lady? Big old sword? Yeah, she left, before we even closed down last night, and I haven't seen her since. She was looking awfully strange, though, and, everybody kind of gave her a wide berth.
Yes, she has that effect on people. Did you see which direction she happened to go, by any chance?
Honestly, she looked like she was on her way to kill somebody, so I kind of stayed away.
Oh, no.
And that is where we're going to end this week's episode of I Cast Fireball.
That's news to me.
Mm-hmm.
We had a Mal-heavy episode, folks. Woo! Got some fun stuff going on there.
Super fun.
Where did Mal go? What's she doing? Did she kill somebody? It's likely, but let's not assume here. Let's find out.
I mean, just given Mal's track record of dealing with hostages and whatnot.
Well, we will find out, hopefully definitively, on the next episode of I Cast Fireball. I want to thank all my players here, especially Ned and Jacob, for taking a backseat this episode so that Mal could really come to the forefront here. So thank you for taking that moment and taking that time. But I want to thank you, listeners, as well, for giving us a shot, giving us a chance, and following along on this wonderful adventure. We are so stoked to give you more fun backstory, fun content just into this adventure, and we hope you like where we're going in the next direction. If you do like where we're going, please leave us a review on the podcatcher of your choice. You can let us know things that you like, elements you're wanting to see in the show as well. You can also shoot us an email at icastfireball2020@gmail.com to also get those things going. I'm pretty confident that for a future Crunch Squad episode, we're going to be following through on creating a monk Crunch Squad episode, as per requested by somebody that emailed us. So shoot us some emails and let us know what you got going on there and what you would like us to see going on as well. Since it's coming up here, I want to let everybody know that I Cast Fireball, or at least part of us, will be at SaltCon 2023, March 2nd to 5th is when we're going to be there. Me and Jacob are going to try. I'm going to be there. Jacob is most likely going to be there. We'll see if we can get Ned and Mickey out there, but them being in different states, we'll have to see. So if you're in the Utah area, come give us a hello, and we'd love to sit down, play some games with you, maybe even do a D&D session there, do an Adventures League adventure. It'd be super fun. I'm actually going to be dungeon mastering there, so love to see anybody there that might be popping up. Also, wanted to give a shout out to Improv Tabletop, where they are having a fantastic run in the Avatar Legends universe. Don't forget to give them a listen and leave them a 5-star review before you head on out. Lastly, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends and fellow wacky adventurers. But until next time, I'm Thomas, your DM, and around the table we've got
Malamara.
Lance Thalen.
And Fleeple.
Let's keep that fire going, and we'll see you all next time.